Hi, good day to all. Welcome you all to the next video on the module number 2 of mechanical measurements and metrology. And now we are in this video we are starting with the discussion on gauging systems or different types of gauges used in metrology and measurements. Limit gauging, especially this concept has arisen because of mass production, we can say, because in mass production it is very difficult to ensure the dimensions whether it lies within the defined limits or not. Actual measurement with the help of measuring instruments is tedious and time consuming. So in order to reduce this time consuming and increase the production time, or increasing the overall production of the overall production time of the productivity of the components, generally we go with the dimensions of dimension checking, not exact actual dimensions. Instead of that, it is only a process of ensuring that whether the manufactured component dimensions lies within the desired defined limits or not. There are several methods available to determine the dimensions of the components. We know that, and we have already discussed about for a linear measurement there are many methods, including even for the angular measurements also. So the method of measurement adopted for mass production of parts is called the system of limit gauging. It has an advantage that it can be operated by an unskilled person also, because for actual measurement we have to go for a skilled person. You only a skilled person who know the usage of the measuring instruments only can check what is its actual dimensions, whereas to ensure the dimension limits within the given ensure the defined dimensions of actual dimensions of the component whether lies in the defined limits or not, we go with the system called a system of limit gauging. So different types of gauges we can use to ensure that for that even unskilled person can operate it, or he can use it comfortably. So for these reasons we generally go for instead of measuring actual dimensions, the conformance of the product with the tolerance specifications can be checked by go and no go gauges. These gauges generally represent the limit size of the workpiece as per specified product tolerances, like minimum material condition and a maximum material condition. Generally, a go gauges represents the maximum material condition of the product, just that is a minimum hole size or a maximum shaft size. Similarly, a no go gauge represents the minimum material condition, that is a maximum hole size or minimum shaft size. This is an example which we can see here in this image. One side it is written as go gauge, and the other side it is written as a no go gauge. On either sides there are shafts. Okay, and one on the go gauge it is a 75.33 is written. Let us go say that this is a go gauge, so for a hole it should be a minimum hole size, so this indicates that it is a 75.33. So when the shaft is inserted into this hole, it should pass through the hole, mean to say that it should have minimum size of 75.33 and maximum size of 75.36. when this is inserted, it should not go into the hole, because if it goes beyond, if the no go gauges are getting passing through that hole, or when it is inserted it is going into the hole, it means to say that the hole size is larger than this 75.36. So it means to say that it is beyond the maximum hole size, or nothing but the upper limit of the hole. If it is going if it is not going into the go gauge, if the go gauge is not getting inserted into the hole, it means to say that the hole size is lesser than the minimum hole size. So by that way we can understand what is the whether the hole size is lies within the minimum hole size or and maximum hole size. If it is lesser than minimum hole size, the go gauge will not pass. If it is larger than maximum hole size, the no go gauge will also pass. So by that way we can ensure this. So that is the example. That is a one simple example. There are many types of such gauges which we are going to use, which we are going to discuss in this video. Gauges are generally inspection tools where it is not having any particular scale, so it just serves the purpose of checking the dimensions of the manufactured products, not measurement of the actual dimensions. So plane gauges, they are generally used for checking plane holes and shafts, which we have discussed in the last slide. So classification of these gauges according to their type, which can be classified as standard gauges and limit gauges. According to their purpose, it can be classified as workshop gauges and inspection gauges. According to the and also reference gauges or master gauges. According to the form of the tested surface, plug gauges for checking holes, snap and ring gauges for checking shafts. According to the design, single limit or double limit gauges, single-ended gauges or double-end gauges, fixed and adjustable gauges. So these are the different types of gauges which is being used. Advantages of gauges. They are generally free from errors. They are portable and independent of power supply. They require no auxiliary equipments and support. Various dimensions can be checked. They are inexpensive. These are and they provide uniform standards. So these are the major advantages of these gauges, especially with respect to the power supply. It doesn't need power supply, and they are manufactured to a very high accuracy. At the same time, there are two important types of gauges here. One is the inspection gauges and one is the workshop gauges. So that is the another important thing. We have to check, we have to ensure that which type of gauges are being used on the shop floor and which type of gauges are used in the inspection gauges. So for that reason, there are some limitations. Some of the components which are within the work tolerance limits may be rejected by the workshop gauges in that case, because workshop gauges are manufactured with lesser tolerance compared to the inspection gauges. So hence they have to be checked again by inspection gauges and may be accepted after that. And in some cases which were not within the tolerance limits, they may be accepted when tested by inspection gauges. That is also another side of the inspection gauges and workshop gauges. The workshop gauges and inspection gauges have to be made separately since their tolerance zones are different. These are the three major limitations of this gauging system. These gauges works on the Taylor's principle. So that is, gauges are designed based on the Taylor's principle. The Taylor's principle says, according to the Taylor, no and no go limit gauges should be designed to determine maximum and minimum metal limits. That is a maximum and minimum material condition. So that is what the Taylor principle says. What is this go gauge? A go limit gauge always corresponds to the maximum material condition. That is nothing but upper limit of the shaft or lower limit of the hole. This is the go gauge. Example for the this checking the shaft dimensions. Go gauge, it has to be manufactured such a way that the shaft can be inserted into the go snap gauge, whereas for a hole, the go gauge is manufactured such a way that the shaft can insert into the hole. Okay, so the gauge dimension is greater than the shaft dimension, and gauge dimension in case of a hole, for checking the hole, go gauge dimension is lesser than the size of the hole. Similarly, it is a reverse case for the no-go gauges. Always the no-go gauges, it should not get the shaft should not get inserted into the no-go gauge. That is, no-go gauge dimension should be lesser than the dimension of the shaft. Okay, so the go gauge snap gauges corresponds to upper limit of the shaft, while go plug gauge corresponds to the lower limit of the hole. Similarly, the go gauges should check all the possible elements of the dimensions at a time: roundness, location, size, etc. A go plug gauge must be of corresponding mating section and preferably to the full length of the hole, so that the straightness of the hole can be checked. Whereas a no-go limit gauges corresponds to the minimum material condition, that is for the lower limit of the shaft and upper limit of the hole. So it should check only one feature of the component at a time. The no-go snap gauges corresponds to the lower limit, while the no-go plug gauges corresponds to the upper limit. Coming to the gauge tolerance, when we are saying that there are different types of gauges inspection gauges and workshop gauges, we have to provide some tolerance over the size also, because even they are being manufactured, and when we are going for a manufacturing and it is being used for checking the other dimensions or limits of the other manufactured components, even they need to be well within the close tolerance of the actual dimensions. So similar to other manufacturing components, even the gauges like other job requires a manufacturing tolerance. Therefore, the theoretical gauge size as determined from maximum and minimum metal limits of the components needs some modifications to allow for reasonable imperfections in the workmanship of the gauge maker. So generally, example, if the desired dimension is within the limit size, let us say it is in the dimension of for second decimal, then we have to manufacture up with an accuracy up to the third decimal, let us say. So that is how the workshop gauges are being manufactured, and the tolerance is given over that. Similarly, for the inspection gauges, it is always expected to be manufactured with a close tolerance up to the third to fourth decimals, so that the component can be checked with a tolerance zone up to the second decimal. That is how it is being considered. So tolerance of the gauges allowed for workmanship of the gauge maker is known as gauge maker's tolerance and gauge tolerances. Please note, this is a very important concept over the gauge tolerance design. And this tolerance on the gauges, I am repeating, this tolerance on the gauges allowed for the workmanship of the gauge maker is known as gauge maker's tolerance or gauge tolerances. And this tolerance should be always kept as small as possible. However, it will have an impact on the cost of making the gauges. That's why we are going for two types of gauges. As we go for closer tolerance, the cost also will be very high. So for that reason, the inspection gauges are made separately, whereas the gauge design with for the workshops, they are made separately. The tolerance on each gauge, whether it is a go or no go gauge, is 1/10 of the work tolerance. Methods of giving the gauge makers tolerance is: first one or the first system for workshop and inspection gauges, second system it is a revised gauge limits, it is also called, and the third system which is a present British system. In the third system, the following principles are followed along with Taylor's principle. One is the tolerance will be as wide as is consistent with the satisfactory functioning, economical production and inspection. So three important characteristics are considered here. One is satisfactory functioning, whether it can check the dimension within the specified limits or not satisfactorily. Second one is about its economical production, because as we go for close tolerance, the cost is going to very high. As we go for foreign tolerances or low tolerance value, the cost will be very low, but there should be a small compromise between the cost and the quality. So economical production also need to be achieved. And inspection, that is again it is about the whether inspection of the given component. No component will be accepted which lies outside this drawing specified limits. This is how the tolerance for the hole and tolerance for the shaft is being defined. Tolerance for the shaft and the hole is given further. One is with respect to the direction of wear of cause, because it is another parameter which causes the reduction of size of whether a go gauge or a no go gauge, because go or no go gauges are inserted into the hole or a shafts so that there will be a direct contact between the gauges as well as the component. So when there is a direct contact between our metal to metal contact exists, obviously the wear is one of the important parameter or a phenomena which is going to cause. For that reason, even a tolerance with respect to the direction of wear of cause is also need to be considered. Based on the direction of wear of cause, example, it is reducing the size of the snap gauges, or it is reducing the size of the go gauges. So opposite to that, the tolerance has to be provided. That is what we call it as a wear allowance, which is provided on the gauges. This system gives the same tolerance limits on the workshops and inspection gauges. and the same gauges can be used for both the purposes, so that the close tolerance exists between the inspection and the closeness exists between the inspection gauges and the workshop gauges. In that case, generally the component rejection will also get reduces. That is a major advantage of when we keep the inspection gauge and workshop gauges tolerance as close as possible. The tolerance for the go gauges will be placed within the work limits, while the tolerance zone for the no go gauge will be outside the work limits, because the where it is based on the direction of where it is considered in that manner. Provision for the wear on go gauges is made by introducing a margin called wear allowance, which we had seen in the previous diagram, between the tolerance zone for gauge and maximum material condition of the work. Wear should not be permitted beyond the maximum metal condition of the work when the limit is of critical importance. Its magnitude is 1/10 of the gauge tolerance. Thus, when the work tolerance is less than 0.09 mm, there is no need of giving allowance for wear. If the work allowance is more than 0.09 mm, then 10% gauge tolerance is given only on a go gauges for wear. Wear allowance consideration on gauges. The measuring surfaces of go gauges, which constantly rub against the surface of the parts during inspection, are consequently subjected to wear and lose their initial sizes. For that reason, due to wear, the size of the go plug gauges is reduced, while that of go snap gauges is going to increase. It is desirable to prolong the service life of the gauges, and therefore a special allowance called wear allowance is added in the direction opposite to the wear. That is, if the example for a snap gauges, let us consider a snap gauge, the size of the snap gauges is going to increase. So for that reason, the actual allowance, actual tolerance plus small allowance for the wear, it is added being, so that the size of the snap gauges is still smaller compared to the actual required tolerance, and over the period of time it is going to be used. And as I know, as we had said already, the wear is going to occur. Because of that, the size of the snap gauge is going to increase. So for opposite to that is reducing the size. So in that way it is being added. For the same reason, the Coke plug gauges are made with the two positive deviations, and go snap gauges with two negative deviations from the nominal size. This is how the tolerance and gauge allowance are given over the material or over the gauges. Similarly, for the gauge materials, essential considerations in the selection of material for gauges. One is the hardness to resist wear, because as we have discussed, there is a wear which is going to occur on the go gauges and the no go gauges. So the material of the gauges need to be very hard so that it can have a better wear resistance. The stability to preserve size and shape, that is it need to not get condensed because of the temperature variation or expand over a temperature variation. If for the rise in the temperature, the metal should not get expand, or for decrease in the size of temperature, it should not get condensed. That is, it need to preserve its own size and shape, or even for the change in the temperature. That stability need to exist. That is the whether it is not only with respect to the temperature, even for pressure or any such kind of phenomena, it should be able to preserve its size and shape. Corrosion resistant, it need to be made up of a highly corrosion resistant material. Machinability for obtaining the required degree of accuracy, because when we are saying for it is to be manufactured, high machinability characteristics is required so that it can be obtained with high degree of accuracy. Low coefficient of linear expansion to avoid temperature effect. These are the major considerations. For that reason, different types of materials are used for gauges. The first one is about high carbon steel. High carbon steel is nothing but steel with 0.81 to 1.2% carbon, either with water or oil hardened, is relatively inexpensive and most commonly used material for gauges. Cast steel with 0.8 to 1.1, 1.2%, it possesses very high hardness. So once it is being manufactured or machined, then it is being hardened with the help of either a water hardening process or oil hardening process. And the whole manufacturing process is relatively inexpensive. Most commonly used, hence it is most commonly used material for gauges, especially for the workshop gauges. And mild steel, these gauges are usually case hardened on working surface, so that they are used for gauges of shapes which might cause crack during hardening if made with another steel. So mild steel is easily machinable, stable, and expensive. Case hardened steels, low carbon case hardening steel is used for majority of small or medium size gauges. It has an advantage of good machinability, stability, and ability to surface harden to varying depths at a required position. Oil hardened steels are also best suited, which where gauges are required in huge quantities. Plating and hard alloys. Chromium plating have led to its increasing size of gauges because it renders the surface of the gauges very hard coupled and with resistant to abrasion and corrosion. Chromium plating provides a highly corrosion resistance to the base metal and proved to be useful of reclaiming the worn out gauges. Hard alloys of tungsten carbide type are finding increasing applications in the gauges. Cast iron, it is often employed for bodies or frames of large gauges whose working surface are hard inserts of the tool steel or cemented covers. Even glass gauges, in spite of their good wear qualities, have not gained much popularity, but if dropped or heavily knocked, they may get damaged. But glass gauges have the advantage of eliminating the corrosion effect due to perspiration from hands. Their dimensions are not affected by temperature changes due to the low coefficient of expansion. Further, when a glass gauge is scratched or chipped, no burn is left on the gauges. Invar, it is a special alloy which contains 36% nickel, has low coefficient of expansion, but is unsuitable for long period usage. These are the different types of gauge materials used for manufacturing of gauges. Okay. Further types of gauges in detail, we will discuss it in the next video. Thank you for your patience listening. I have used many textbook sources as well as internet sources for in preparing this teaching material, and I acknowledge all such sources. Thank you for all such sources from which I have used material for preparing this video as well as a teaching material. Thank you for even listeners for your patient listening.